Next time we'll probably change it up a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, we are changing it up next week
Yes.
because we have a guest.
Is this how we started? Welcome to Let's Be Frank. This week we are talking about the I in team, which might sound a bit strange, but we'll get into that. I just want to start by saying that we sent out a survey to our team last week about our podcast, and we got some really great feedback from everyone, and I'm really happy with the feedback that we got.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah, not all positive, but stuff we can work on, which is nice.
Which is exactly what we wanted.
Exactly.
If we only got positive feedback, we would have been skeptical. Well,
Yeah.
I would have been skeptical.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, thank you to everyone that sent us some feedback, and for the people that come to us personally to chat to us about what's happening. Yeah, we appreciate it. So talking about teams, I mean, we've already mentioned it a few times in some of our other podcasts, that teams are teams and we love our teams and they're made up of individuals. And we spoke about that quite a lot in a Better You podcast.
Yeah, so that's what prompted me to put forward the topic of the I in team. Just through a number of discussions over the last few weeks, I've just realized individual discussions, one-on-one discussions, I've realized that we probably underplay the importance of the individual, the I in team.
Yeah.
So we think of the sports analogy, sports teams must function as a team, but the individuals in each of those teams have a very specific role.
Yeah. And it takes one individual to make or break the team sometimes. There's the one person making a mistake can affect the whole team.
Yeah, it immediately
Yeah.
puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the
Yeah.
team. And the opposite of that is also true, is you do see in team sports that there's that individual brilliance that happens from time to time. It's not necessarily the same individual
Yeah.
every time, and you hope that it's not the same individual. But that individual brilliance that happens lifts the entire team,
Yeah.
builds on the confidence,
The morale.
the morale, the team spirit,
Yeah.
the belief in that we can win.
Yeah.
So there's that saying about if you believe you're going to lose, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And often when a sports team go through a slump, you hear the commentators speak a lot about they have to build on that, they have to get back into the habit of winning. And it's that collective team of individuals that must come together and perform,
Yeah.
each and every one of them at their best capability.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what we're promoting a lot now with the being a better you and individual development.
Yeah, we verbalize it a lot better, and it's part of our formula. But it's always been something that's been extremely important to us.
Yeah.
This is encouraging individuals to improve themselves.
Yeah. And we also we expect and we want individuals in our team to step up and say this is an area that they would like to be better in, and let them take ownership for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the quickest way that we can get to that improvement.
Yeah.
This is for individuals to tell you where they. So again, back to the sports analogy. You have coaches, and in many of the team sports, it's not just one single individual, but it is a team of coaches
Yeah.
that look at different aspects of. So there'll be somebody that focuses on fitness and strength and diet and tactics and etc.
Yeah.
Specific skills. So we don't necessarily have the luxury of that team of people that look after each individual, which is why we encourage people to hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
And I think that accountability goes a lot further than just pointing out when somebody fucked up.
Yeah.
It's also about taking a teammate aside and saying, hey, you look a little bit frazzled, down, is there anything demotivated? And encouraging each other on that level as well.
And I think in the same vein, it's also holding each other accountable and promoting the good things that people are doing and pointing out that they are succeeding in certain areas and that they seem to be improving. And it's also the building each other up.
Yeah, salute.
Salute, exactly.
So, that was the main reason why we developed the tool.
Yeah.
Is so that we can celebrate all those deeds that show people are living our values.
And it's something we spoke about in last week's podcast, is sometimes celebrating those small wins motivates you to work a little bit harder and get a little bit further on in your goals.
Yeah, we should probably do more of that.
We say that in just about every podcast, and I'm guilty of not doing enough of it. I know that for a fact. But yeah, sometimes we need these little reminders to just get back into that habit. Again, this is an example of holding one another accountable. When last did you salute someone? I'm asking myself
That's a terrible question to ask me. I can tell you when I thought I must salute somebody, and that was very recent. It was actually last week. But yeah, quite right. I didn't make the time to come and sit down and salute. I'll do it. I'll do it immediately after this.
And these things all tie into each other. We've spoken about so many of these podcasts, is the action that follows the knowledge. So knowing that you should be doing something, and the hard part is taking that step and executing in action. So we're all very guilty of it.
What did Reach say about knowledge?
If action followed knowledge, we'd all have 6 packs.
Yes. Yes.
And again, that's very relevant because last week I was talking about my attempts at going to gym and things like that.
Yeah. So many of these things that we talk about are so interwoven and interlinked that it's kind of difficult to just focus on one topic.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, what we're trying to do is we're trying to build better, more effective, proactive, self-directed teams.
Yeah.
And to just speak about one specific area and not refer back or touch on others doesn't do justice, I think, to the overall objective of what we're trying to do here. So teams, please understand, teams are made up of individuals.
Yeah.
A team is only as good as the value or the effort and the commitment that each individual brings to the team.
Yeah.
Don't hide behind the team. Don't sit back and say, the team can improve on the following.
Yeah.
That accountability that and that vulnerability that we talk about often is put up your hand and say, hey, I know I'm not really good at that, or this, or create some kind of external accountability within that team to help you become a better you, or to overcome a specific
obstacle.
Well, obstacle, I was going to say bad habit.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of these things are just habits.
Yeah, it's not that you're actually bad or weak in a certain area. It's just that you've fallen into a habit of doing it a certain way.
Yeah.
And trying to change that is quite difficult.
That's probably something we should discuss in another podcast is how do we change habits?
Yeah.
There's some really interesting stuff out there about changing habits. I know people have ideas about or maybe the common perception is that it takes 21 days to break a habit or to build a new habit. But there's some interesting stuff to refer to in a conversation like that.
Yeah.
It's like we don't really break habits, we just build new habits.
Yeah. Which overcome the old ones.
Which was a bit of a revelation to me when I first saw that one.
Yeah.
But that's a good topic for another podcast.
And it comes back to those small incremental changes, not a big drastic throw everything revolution. It's just making those small steps to change.
Absolutely.
And I think in terms of the I and team, it just comes back to that self-awareness, is acknowledging what your personal weaknesses are, your personal challenges, or the areas where you could improve, and then finding out ways to improve. That's the second part, which I'm also struggling with, is what are the actions that I need to take to actually get better at something that I've now identified as a weakness for myself.
True. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not that difficult. I think instinctively we know.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is that the difficult part is making that commitment, even if it's to yourself.
Yeah.
About, well, I know I must improve my eating habits, for example. I know I must educate myself in terms of a specific, I don't know, technology or new direction and so on. And kind of the how-to, as you said earlier, it's about making those small incremental changes. But I think what often holds us back is not necessarily the fact that we don't know how to.
Yeah.
It's about, I don't want to make that commitment.
Yeah.
I don't want to disappoint myself. I don't want to fail.
Disappoint others.
Disappoint others.
Yeah.
But and there are nice little techniques and ways in which you can do that.
Well, one of them we spoke about a little bit last week is the persistence, is just keeping at it.
Correct.
Yeah. Just keep going.
Yeah. And the other method that I've been using in my individual chats with the teams, the Grou Method, where Grou stands for what is my goal, what is it that I want to achieve, then interrogating your reality, what is my reality at this point in time. And then once you've interrogated the reality, is this focus on what are the opportunities.
Yeah.
What are the opportunities from my reality, and then also looking at what are my opportunities if I didn't have the constraints that I perceive that I have at the moment.
Yeah.
And then from those opportunities, identify the way forward, those small incremental changes that you can start applying today.
Yeah.
And by doing a simple little exercise like that, gives one immense clarity about what I can do.
Yeah.
What steps I can take to improve myself.
Yeah. Just makes me think of a quote from one of my lecturers at Wits Business School a few years ago. And he said, if we don't know what we would do without constraints, how can we know what we're going to do with limitations? So you need to actually first interrogate, what could you do if there were no constraints, if there were no stumbling blocks, what would you be capable of? And then you start looking at what are the limitations and what can I do within this context.
Yeah, I think the limitations that we place
are often self-imposed.
A lot of the time self-imposed. So if I look at what the ideal scenario would be, and then compare that to the reality, well, there's a huge gap in between. And maybe there is something halfway between the reality and the ideal, which I can work on.
Yeah, how many of those limitations are actually self-imposed? We put them there ourselves.
Correct. So just back to the IN team, we've got to get individuals in the team to take this responsibility and accountability, to bring their absolute A game every day.
A players make up the best teams.
They make up the best teams, but A players that bring their not A game is really not what we want.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. This was Let's Be Frank about the IN team. And we've got some exciting things coming soon. We're going to be talking about our blueprint, which we've mentioned a few times. So looking forward to the next one.
Excited about next week.
Thank you.